know that song.
There's Brad. Yeah, these young guys got to know this stuff. Come on, Brad.
I think it's
Help
a
the old
song about
guys
a
out
truck.
here.
It's got to be a song about a truck or a
Definitely
dog.
a song about a truck, a girl, and a dog.
I love it. I love it. Welcome everybody to the RETR Morning Show. Super, super excited as my dear friend Scotty Campbell is in the house. Holy,
What's up? What's
crap.
up?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey man, I'm good. I feel like this is kind of like starting Monday in a club with all the music and
Oh
like
man, dude, let's go.
we're gonna be real jazzed up to make phone calls after this.
This is the funnest club on planet Earth, baby. Funnest club on
Club
Earth.
RETR. Club RETR is better.
Club RETR is better. There you go, man. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Excited to have you here, man. As always, love hanging out with you and talking with you. We don't hang out enough personally, but we're working on that.
We're working on
that. There's some golf thing you guys do every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Texas. Like, I don't know. What is all that about?
Yeah, baby. Scotty's a professional.
Yeah, dude. I'm a professional golf cart driver.
Not you, Scotty. The other Scotty.
I don't know about that, Eddie. I'm a professional at well, I can really do well at the restaurant after the
There you go, baby.
Yeah.
Last time we played golf, Eddie, you made me feel like I should never golf again. So
that was Paul Dolan, baby.
Oh, that was Paul. You're right. He was the ringer.
Yeah.
Where is Paul? Is he on here today?
I don't think
I see Paul on here today.
Yeah, I haven't seen him. Somebody
Well,
said,
anyway, I still try to golf. I'm trying again this Thursday, Eddie. So
yeah, baby. Keep practicing. You'll get as good as Rick Koenig one of these days.
I'm looking forward to that day.
Rick hasn't golfed since my son turned 30, and we quit after 13 because I was so bad. And he's 41 now.
oh my God.
I've played with guys like that before. Let's don't invite Rick.
Well, Scotty, man, I was telling my wife about the acid playbook, and I said it's ACED. She goes, no, it's ACID, and I go,
it's
no,
ACE, bro. Aced. Like I aced the test.
I know. I was joking with her. To see if she was paying attention. You gotta put her in check every once in a while. You know, like I'm doing some acid playbook, aced playbook. So Scott, man, dude, introduce yourself, man. I don't think you need an introduction. Sounds like everybody knows you, but introduce yourself. Tell us where you live. How long you been in the place?
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me. It's been fun to help just watch this community build in the last few months here. I live in Georgetown, Texas, which is just north of Austin. I've been in the Austin area since 2010, and I've got a wife, 3 kids. We own a company called Waymaker Mortgage that we officially started in 2022. So wow. We're rocking and rolling. We started as a broker. We've become a non-delegated lender last year, and we're just, kind of building the whole thing in the air, man. It's been fun.
Awesome, man. Hey, a little bit of that to the banker model there. So this aced playbook, let's get into it, man. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell somebody that's like on the cusp of struggling a little bit, doing okay, but man, they can't quite get breakthrough? Is it the ACE model, or you want to talk about like what it is that you, knowing what you know now and what you've been through, that you would tell somebody on the call?
Yeah, man. First of all, I think that every single person that I ever talked to in this business, whether it's in the real estate side, the financing side, whatever, you have to like really get very clear on who you want to attract. You have to make a decision. And especially in mortgage, we have a hard time niching down. We have a really hard time deciding this is the person, this is the customer that I want to attract and I want to do business with, because we're afraid to let go of the other business. So we're afraid to brand as the VA guy or the DSCR girl or whatever. And we're like really concerned we're going to let other business like kind of flow through our fingers. But what I think we don't realize is we need to be magnetic. The right people are looking for us. And the problem is if we're just kind of, spray and pray model, or if we're shooting like a shotgun and, today we're talking about investment loans and tomorrow we're talking about first-time home buyers. And, people are confused by that messaging, especially in your circle of influence, your sphere of influence, let alone the real estate agents that we're, talking to and looking to attract. So I think the first thing is decide who you want to attract. And that's why I came up with this acronym, because I'm a really simple guy. I like really simple things. And so we kind of came up with this way that my brain can process what is it that I need to do all the time. And then how can I teach that to loan officers and real estate agents?
Beautiful. And so let's talk about it, man. Let's get into the A. What's the A of aced?
What do you think it is? Anybody got an idea? The A of aced. The first step in getting somebody interested in doing business with you.
Attract.
Oh man, Brad Braun.
Man,
Coming out of nowhere, clutch. Yeah, man, you got to draw on the right prospects. You got to be bold with your marketing and your personal branding. So I do a lot of VA loans, and people are actually surprised by that. They're like, in Austin, you do a lot of VA loans? Yeah, I find and I attract veterans who are looking for help. That's probably the number one group of people that I serve with mortgage loans. I attract them in. Here's how you do it. You get specific about your ideal prospect. You have to make sure that you know who you want to be working with. And you also, because we're kind of in this pass-through business where a lot of us are getting in referrals, right? So you have to attract the right real estate agents who are going to attract you the right buyers. Would you agree with that, Scotty?
I would 100% agree. You know, and I'm just going back a little bit, magnetic, and then attract. So like the beautiful, and what I was going to say about this, and I was writing it down so I didn't forget, is when you are strategic with what you're talking about, when you're attracting who you want to attract, and you're picky, I think life gets fun, right? I mean, you get to hang out with who you like, you get to work with who you like. Is that that's kind of what I wanted to ask you. Because
I used to, you know, I'll kind of say it like this. I used to heavily protect my personal phone number. Like real estate agents didn't get it. Still, I keep it from clients for the most part, but like realtors that I worked with couldn't reach me on my personal line. Now I used to say, oh, this is the one realtor that has my personal line, or this is there's two. Now I can't count how many because I have friends, like people who I actually want them to have my personal line because I want to talk to them. I want to interact with them. I want to have a good time with them, you know, and I feel the same way about the loan officers that we work with in our company. Like I want to do life and community with these people. So I'm working hard to attract the right people. You have to use targeted messaging in order to do that. You have to show up and make sure that you're actually communicating outbound, which you want to attract inbound.
It sounds like what you're really doing is you're building a relationship instead of just making it a transaction, which I think.
Yeah, 100%. I think we all want to do that, right? Like,
yeah.
At least we think we want to do that, but it's tough to dial that in, especially, you know, the last couple of years where it's been like, you know, you get a phone call. Do you do this type of loan? Yeah, I do that type of loan. And then you take 48 hours to figure out how to do it, you know?
There you go. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Who's going to guess the next letter of ACE, which is C? Is there anything else you want to say about attract before we move on? I think being specific, being intentional, being laser focused.
Well, something that I think is really simple in marketing that we might miss is you got to show up where your prospects are already paying attention. So like if I go back to the veteran thing, again, I love serving veterans. So there's a couple of different things you can do to show up where they're already paying attention. One of those things that's worked really well for me is Facebook groups. We get into the Facebook groups. There's a lot of, you know, specific to the veteran niche, there's a lot of veterans that are moving around from base to base. They call it PCS when they move from one duty station to another duty station. So there's all these Facebook groups where specifically the wives are in those groups. Well, guess what? We started working with and targeting real estate agents who are networking with those wives in those groups so that we could be first in line to get those transactions.
Never even knew that existed. That's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't either.
And they let you in, so that like they let you in, or who?
Well, no. So in this case, you know, I'm in that very specific case, I'm probably not welcome in that group. But these real estate agents that we target who are either spouses to those who have served or are serving, or they are retired or something of that nature, they can get into the groups because they're of the same avatar, so to speak, right? So if it's like mom's relocating to Fort Hood, Texas, these real estate agents who serve that specific niche of people, they can get in there. Well, we network with the realtor. And then what happens is the realtor gets them offline to us so we can have a conversation with them, because the realtor says, hey, you got to go talk to Scotty and his team. You don't want to talk to USAA. You want to talk to them. They're going to take great care of you. So that's one way that we've really doubled down on attracting through the referral model.
So C is connect.
C is convert.
Convert.
C is convert. And here's the thing. I'm very big on this. You want to lead with clarity, earn the yes, and ask for commitment. Because that's the conversion process. If we give people something on the front end that gives them total clarity, and then we earn that opportunity for their yes. I think something we forget a lot in this business, and I teach this to realtors a lot too, you've got to ask for the commitment. You have to ask for the commitment. Set clear next steps on every call or meeting. So something that we started doing last year that's been a massive game changer, whether we're talking to real estate agents we want to work with, whether it's talking to loan officers we want to look at recruiting, or if it's consumers, never leave the meeting or the call without setting the next touch. Set the next step. So Scotty, you and I are talking. We had a great call. You're a real estate agent. I really enjoyed working with you. I want to set the next call with you. So, hey, man, I absolutely love this, Scott. Hey, I know we're coming right up against our time. I promised you 15 minutes. We're right up at 14 right now. So before I let you go, what I'd like to do is schedule another Zoom with you 7 days out so that we can spend about 30 minutes together and really dig into these 3 things that you told me you need. So how does next Tuesday at 10 look? And then we get it on the calendar. Same thing with borrowers. You know, the big thing about them getting their docs in and all that stuff, we just set the next call. So we schedule it. That's a conversion process. What it does is it leads with clarity and it earns trust.
One of the things you said, man, that I don't know if you guys caught it, but you said teach your agents. I mean, teach has been the common denominator of who like separates certain people from certain people, right? Like remember Jamie Miller, he always talks about, he always asks the question, you have to teach, and what's the one thing you should do? And everybody goes, practice, you know, like, no, teach. So like that was, I think that was so important you brushed over. And then the bigger part is you ask. Not only do you ask for the commitment, you ask for the next time that you guys are going to talk, which is so powerful.
So I use another little acronym here for conversion, SSA, set, solve, ask. Set the clear next steps, solve the problems before they ask, and ask for the business boldly, but naturally. I think it's like our pre-approvals. When we do pre-approvals on my team, we have very little fallout between pre-approval and contract. We don't get rate shop too often because on the front end, we tell them we don't like to work with rate shoppers. Wow. We tell them we don't like to work with folks who aren't committed to us, but we give them the leadership to tell them why working with us matters. We're going to do a fully vetted pre-approval. We call it a green light approval in our office. We really punch home how they're going to have a higher level of possibility to get their offer accepted by working with us. And then we ask them for commitment at the point of pre-approval. We ask agents for commitment at the point when we decide they're a good fit and we want to work with them. And we do it in a cool way, making sure that we're not being like a total jerk, but it's, hey, I would really love to work with you. Is there anything that might prevent you from sending me your next buyer lead? Is there anything that would prevent you from working with me as your lender? Those couple of questions, man, they've been a real game changer for our business.
Love it. So SSA, set, solve, ask. Love that.
Clear next steps, baby.
Anything else on convert? I love this.
What do you guys think? I mean, you know, don't let me just do all the talking. Does anybody do this type of thing? Is this working for you? Is anybody that's afraid to do this kind of thing? And you're like, I wish I could, but I don't know how. I
was going to ask you where, and we're not, and I want to ask you on the convert part, where's the breakdown? Like where does that break down on the conversion? Because I think conversion is one of the hardest parts. Like, and you said so many things right there in that little piece about like you set, you solve, you find a solution, you set the stage for, we're not dealing with rate shoppers. I mean, you said so many things in that little bitty piece that set proper expectations with who you're working with. I think a lot of us fall short of that or are scared to say that. How do you get to a point where you're like, you're just going to put that out there and you're winning?
I had to systematize it because, you know, a couple of years ago, I wanted to build a business that like runs essentially without me, at least to a degree. So I had to systematize something that people who maybe don't have the same sales acumen or charismatic talent that I have could do the same thing. And what I actually learned was when we systematized it, we could have anybody on the team have this conversation if they had the right framework. And the best thing about it was there was no emotion involved. So especially for somebody on my team who's maybe earning a salary or a salary plus bonus or something like that, to have this conversation, that's just part of their day in, day out job. It's almost like if you hire a dialer to make phone calls because you don't like the rejection. So you've got somebody making 100 phone calls on your behalf every day. They don't care. That's all they do. If they get rejected, no big deal. It's the same thing. So I had to take my own emotions out of it, because no matter what I systematize, I still want to win. I still want to be the guy they pick. I still don't like being told no. I still don't like being left or cheated on or whatever. We feel these emotions in our business. But the truth is, if we didn't earn it, then we can't convert it. And if we didn't convert it, then it's not even ours to work on.
Do you find people have a hard time with being direct like that, like consumer, or do they like going, okay, I know exactly where I'm at. I know exactly where I'm going. I know how this works.
On the consumer side?
Yes.
I really think people love to be led. I am a high D personality on the disc. I'm pretty opinionated. Like, I know what I like. I know what I don't like. But when somebody leads me through a sales process, I will buy. If somebody leaves me hanging and I don't understand what I'm buying, I don't understand the process to get a hold of it. I'm dealing with a situation right now with 2 flipping patio chairs that I've been dealing with for months with this particular company. And I'm just so frustrated. I wish I would have never done business with them. The only reason I did business with them is because they got me on a Facebook ad, Brad. And what I'm experiencing is, man, I wish that they had a clear process in place. And so that's something that we have solved in our office, is we want a clear process in place, because again, I believe leadership trumps everything else. I think everything rises and falls on leadership. John Maxwell teaches that. It's true. I want to be led. You want to be led. Our clients want to be led. Our agents want to be led. You're talking about teaching agents. That's a really good point, because the reality is, if we can provide leadership, then we've earned the opportunity.
Right.
Hey, Scott, what was the, you had lead with clarity, ask for the commitment. What was the second one?
Lead with clarity, earn the yes.
Okay, there we go.
Ask for commitment.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You got to earn that yes.
For sure.
We don't deserve it just because we did a pre-approval. Oh my God, you're pre-approved. You should say yes to me. Or because we had a great call with an agent, 15-minute call or 25-minute coffee. Why would you do what? Why would they put 20 grand in your care after 20 minutes together? Gotta earn it.
Ashley, my friend, nice to see you. Got a question for us?
Morning, y'all. Yeah. Scotty, my brother, good morning.
What's up, sis? Good to see you.
I know, I'm counting down those days to see you. Morning, everyone. Nice to see everybody. Hey, so this is absolutely amazing. We kind of grew up on the same thing in our business. So I love hearing it from your perspective, from the Waymaker perspective. So thanks for sharing with us.
For
Also
sure.
happy to see a lot of familiar faces on here. My question is to you, when you talk about rising and falling on leadership, right? I am now growing at a growing phase, right? So one of the things that I'm currently struggling with is duplication, right? Like, you need to be able, like, can you walk away from your business? And if you can't, then you just have a glorified 9 to 5, right? Like, this is what we talk about when we're talking about green loan officers, right? Because sometimes we have them, and I can't deny some of them. One of the problems I'm having right now is teaching them sales. Like, hey, you got to do the same sales activities, whether you're doing 90 days of social media or you're doing 90 days of cold calling, the same thing. One of the biggest things they say is, well, what am I doing if I don't have people to reach out to? I gave them a very clear sales plan, right? If you're doing social media for 90 days, this is what you're doing. This is your call to action. If you're hitting the phone for 90 days, but there's this big hesitation because they're not seeing conversion. Is it a leadership thing, or is it the fact that maybe our SLAs are not fully built out? That's kind of where I'm like struggling right now, because what you're saying is 100% right. Ask for the commitment. I can teach them all of these things, but they don't have clients yet to teach this to. So am I getting ahead of myself, or do we still have to continue just hitting the phone?
You're talking about brand new, like totally green, just got a license, trying to get loans going.
They're like maybe a year in and they've closed one deal. And I've taught them sales fundamentals, like, hey, you need to do this activity for 90 to 120 days, right? Because before it used to be 30 to 45, but the market has changed. Are my SLAs just not built out correctly? Or is it that they don't have the agents, the pre-approvals, the stuff like that?
Oh, we got some real heavy hitters on this call that I think I'd love to hear from on this. I'll give a quick opinion, and then we need to hear from a couple of others. First of all, I'm just going to go back to the attract. you may not be attracting the right people. I hate to say it that way. I had to clean house a few months ago. I feel so free. I'm gonna be honest. I attracted a few of the people that I didn't necessarily, they weren't the right avatar. They weren't making the phone calls. They weren't putting in the effort. They weren't working a plan. So we gave them an option, and that option worked out for both sides. So I would be careful who you attract. They may not be on the phone enough. They may not be making asks enough, so that really could come down to it. And I think when you start with your circle of influence, when you ask them to actually come up with like 100 people that from your phone, from your life in general, people who are VIPs who could send you business, and then get out there and ask them for that business. I mean, that's really the first stage to launching. But man, again, there's some great folks on this call I'd love to hear from. Who's got an opinion on this?
I would just say, I think that be careful who you attract. I think that was a very nice way to say it. So
Can TR, can I add something?
yeah.
Ashlyn, I heard a lot in your verbiage. If you watch this recording back, you're telling your people what to do. You need to do this for 90 days. I would encourage, for the clarity, you ask them what's in it for them to do the things, and make it. If we're going to ask questions of clients to bring them on, it's the same with the people who come on board our teams. Ask them what's in it for them and what kind of mindset they have. Do they have it like get rich quick, or do they have a marathon mindset? And get them to share everything that you need to hear from them. Then you get to hold them more accountable to the things they told you. That's just my 2 cents. And great stuff, Scotty. I love the posture play. The analogy I use with Scott, we're not about the rates, is I'm standing on a boat holding a life preserver. The buyer is in the water with their arm up saying, please throw down this life preserver. And that's a great mentality to have in selling. And I like seeing Rick Koenig's face smile as I just shared that. Okay. All right. Moving on.
How bad do they want it, Ashlyn? How bad do they want to succeed, right? Do you want to succeed more than they do?
Yeah.
Because that's the reality of the situation. If they don't want to get out there and get it done, they're a year in, they close one transaction. You might have the wrong people on your team.
You're right.
You can't light that fire for them. They got to light the fire themselves.
100%.
I learned a lesson early on in my career, and that was not all business is good business, and that pertains to team members, clients, and real estate agents. Sometimes you just have to let them go in order to meet your goals if they're not doing their part.
Okay, so one more thing I'll say, guys. No time wasters, no money wasters. I've gotten fanatic about this. I don't allow anybody to work in a salary position that wastes time or money. I definitely don't let anybody work in a position, a commission position that wastes time or money, because that is literally bleeding our team, bleeding our company. So, be careful there, because if they're a time waster or money waster, cut them quick. You got to cut the emotion. I had a friend of mine who has sold 3 companies. He's worth over $1 billion. I sat down with him 2 years ago. I said, dude, what is my problem? And he said, you're not binary. You have to be ones and zeros when it comes to this. And I said, well, the problem is I love people. He goes, I'm a high I. I adore people. I love people deeply. But when it comes to my business and my profit and loss, I am fanatical. It's ones and zeros. Get binary. So we did. We're a much smaller organization than we were 3 years ago. But that's because we are fully optimized with the right people right now. And now we're able to grow with the right people moving forward.
Love it. Love it.
All right, so somebody's asking about the E. I know we're
begging about the E. Yeah, begging about the E.
The E is execute. You want to deliver a world-class experience, and that makes working with you unforgettable if you do it. If we deliver a world-class experience, we're unforgettable. We have to maintain, but we're still unforgettable, at least in that moment in time, right? So how do we do that? We communicate early and often. We tell them we're going to communicate. We promise we're going to communicate, but guess what? We actually do it. We make sure that people know what's going on before they think about it. We solve problems fast without drama. Appraisal came in low. The bank statement doesn't have the funds we thought, et cetera, et cetera. Those problems get solved quickly and efficiently, and we're like a well-oiled machine. Everybody's happy. We keep the clients feeling supported every step of the way. And guess what? If we're referral-based, who's our number one client? It's our referral source. We keep them feeling supported. So our past clients, when they send us a referral, they actually get an update throughout the transaction of their referral, not like we would with a realtor. They don't need to know all the depth of it, but they get an update midstream, update at closing, and we even ask them for a review again, even if they gave us a review in their experience. Hey, can you give us another review after you saw how we took care of your referral? And they love it. People are excited about that. So we want to launch success through a long-term vision relationship, not just one transaction. We do that with world-class execution.
And I think you're the one that came up with it, Scotty. The midway through the process survey.
Yes, the Midway survey.
Yeah, the Midway survey.
I thought about that when I was sitting at my place in Florida. We call it the Midway Hideaway, and I was like, "Well, I'm going to do a Midway survey." The Midway survey is killer, dude. Like it's awesome. And sometimes I do that call myself. Like I'll just call in and be like, "Hey, I just want to check in, see how the process is going for you." And people absolutely love it, and they'll tell you if they love it or hate it. But midway through the transaction, purchase or refinance, doesn't matter. Somebody on your team needs to be checking in. It needs to be a phone call, asking a few specific questions. I'm happy to share them with you guys if you want them. I'll share this playbook and I'll share those questions, Scott, after the
excellent, man.
You know what's so cool about that Midway survey is we ask, hey, are we at a 5-star, right?
Yep.
And so then if we're not, hey, give us a chance to recover and get there, right? What is it going to take to get to a 5-star by the end of the transaction? Then you're 100% set up for a 5-star review when you send them that review link. So that Midway survey is awesome.
Nice to see you, buddy.
I love that, Paul. A chance to recover. Because how many of you guys have ever had every transaction is perfect every time?
Yeah.
Come on.
Up until the end, right?
Yeah.
Everybody but only Paul.
No, but seriously, like you can say, hey, have we delivered the 5-star, we promised? And if you were doing a Google review today, would it be a 5-star?
Yep.
That's a tough question to get the answer to sometimes.
Yeah.
And this and this and this sucked. Well, how can we recover from that and get back to a 5-star and so that you guarantee yourself a 5-star review if you do those things. So
amazing. Thanks, Paul. The D. Anybody want to guess what the D is?
Oh, come on. Nobody?
Discipline.
I like
That's good. That's a good guess.
I like that.
That's a good guess.
Dominate.
Boom. Dominate. You own the relationship by serving so well, they wouldn't dream of working with someone else. I read a statistic yesterday. I was just kind of looking at some news for the week ahead. And the statistic was that 8% of home sellers use the same realtor. Now, we in this business always used to throw out the 12 or the 13. We're down to 8 guys on the real estate side. So what is that number for, refinances coming back or, our mortgage clients using us again in today's world? A world where Rocket owns Redfin and Mr. Cooper. So I made this dominate for a reason because I want to own that relationship so well that they wouldn't even dream of working with anybody else. I want our clients to be like, I got to call Scotty. I got to talk to his team before I would even entertain all this crap that's coming at me with phone calls and letters and things of that nature. So how do we do it? We stay connected after closing. We talk about this a lot, guys, but I don't think everybody's doing it because this is one of the problems we talk about, especially when refis come back around. There's going to be a lot of complaining. So-and-so went with so-and-so and they didn't use me again. Well, did you really stay connected? Did you provide value? What are some ways we can do that? I'd love to just open it up. How do we provide value after closing? What are you guys doing?
I'll add. We just started where we are now going to call them right before their first payment is due. So just say, hey, listen, because the thing is, we don't want them calling the servicer, right? Or asking somebody else to walk them through. So we're going to have that follow-up call with them. Hey, listen, your first payment's going to be due. This is how you get into the portal, et cetera, et cetera. Also, when we're seeing, just making sure that we're guiding them through the first payment process. It's something that we weren't doing before, but we already know when their first payment's due. So just picking up the phone, telling them, hey, don't forget your first payment's due. I know you didn't, but just in case, because sometimes you'll get the call like, hey, I don't know where to make my payment. So we started implementing that and we're seeing a lot of great results.
Scotty, I'd go back to being visible, man. Staying visible, having a routine, being visible on social media, being visible by phone, being visible by email, being like just staying top, like making sure they remember who you are and what you do for a living on a consistent, persistent basis. I don't know how many people I looked up over the weekend. I was trying to connect with a few people and I couldn't find their phone number. I couldn't even find their email.
Wow.
It barely said what it did. On
Dude, that's a mess.
Right?
It's a hot mess. I mean, if you're not visible, like you need to go through all of your stuff. If you're not visible enough, you got to fix that first. It's online and offline, guys. It's like all in. And by the way, the question of should I use a personal Facebook or business, it's all personal. Like, let's be real. It's relationship. It's personal. They want to see you with your kids. They want to see you doing your stuff. Now, Paul says, if you're not, what did you say? If you aren't visible, you're invisible. It's so true. I mean, so this is a marriage after closing, like an aftercare process is a marriage of online and offline. It's process driven, right? So you have to have your 7-day call. You have to have a 30-day call. You got to do a 6-month call. You got to make sure you're doing an annual mortgage review. Like this stuff should be in your calendar, penciled out, set up as soon as that client closes. Those calls are getting made, you know, regardless. Do something for birthdays and anniversaries. All that stuff's great. But if you want to take it to the next level, build a Facebook audience. And I'll plug my buddy Brad on this. It has been a pretty cool game changer lately. How many people have been reaching out to me since I started doing the, I don't even know what you call it, Brad, but the retargeting. So everybody that I talk to, everybody that's in my CRM system gets into a retargeted audience. And I'm putting different content in front of them. And I'm putting it in front of everybody because I don't care who sees. If we're promoting a property, if we're promoting a specific loan program, if we're talking about refinances, everybody sees it because I want to be visible, visible, visible. But you've got to have some sort of automation around this too. So like we use My Home IQ. If you're not using My Home IQ or HomeBot, you have to be doing that. You have to implement the post-close phone calls, a system or a tool like My Home IQ, and don't just send them an invite. On the 7-day post-close call, when we talk about their payment, when they're going to make their payment, where it goes, we also introduce them to My Home IQ and we teach them why it's important. And then guess what? They're staying engaged. We're getting emails every month from people asking questions about their property. And then we can loop that back to the realtor and say, look, Mr. Realtor, Mrs. Realtor, I am engaged with your client after closing. They're asking questions about their property. You should give so-and-so a call. It's a big deal. The other thing we're doing on the 30-day call that I've really enjoyed, like I really enjoy this. I used to think post-closing was annoying, by the way, because I want to always be chasing new business. I think a lot of us feel that way. And I love the thrill of the chasing new business. So I thought post-closing was annoying, even though I knew it was important. The 30-day call is when we really drill in and we get them connected to a financial advisor, planner if they don't have one, a will and trust attorney if they don't have one, and we make sure that we talk about insurance. Are you covered for insurance? So that we can double down on referrals to our circle of influence. And guess what? I get way more referrals from my circle of influence now because I'm sending referrals out all the time. So the post-close, dominate that relationship and keep providing value. Education, events, personal touches. Education, events, personal touches.
Scotty, you taught me this, man. Like, you know what we do to get the deal, keep the deal, close the deal? Same as a marriage, husband, wife. Like what do you do to get the girl? What do you do to get the guy? That should never stop.
That's
right?
True.
The process that takes place, the emotions that take place, the staying visible, the staying top of mind, like loving on, appreciating on them, like that. Like Scotty, you tell me, like that should never end. Pretend like you never had the deal in the first place throughout the next 10 years of their lives as they're in this mortgage, because what the average person leaves or either buys or refis every 48 months. Think about that. Huge deal.
Yeah. So check this out. If you can take a framework like this and teach this to your agent partners that you have, like don't take it out and start like brand new thing to the market. Check this out. Teach it to the people you're already working with. Mm-hmm. They already like you. They already trust you with their paycheck. Teach them, hey, this is how I take care of your people. How do you take care of your people? Can we work together and collaborate on that? Because I promise they care about this stuff. This is where it comes to providing leadership to our referral partners, and then take this out to the market. It's a big opportunity right now because there's so many real estate agents who need leadership. If you're, recruiting and attracting loan officers, there's so many loan officers who need leadership. you got to find that tribe and really lock in. But man, I'll tell you what, just knowing what I get to do every day, like that's been the big kind of change the game moment for me, because I used to not be scheduled. I used to not have all my stuff together. I used to open the computer and look at, okay, what fires do I get to fight today? And now having a framework in place has really changed the game. And then I book in for these different pillars of our system and our process.
You're an amazing leader, bro. Appreciate you as always.
Dude, this has been fun, man. Thank you for having me.
Bringing a lot of heat to the. Anybody else have anything they want to ask Scotty before we head on out of here? All right,
Paul, you look
everybody,
like you're talking, but you're muted.
Who is Paul?
I'm calling out Paul Dolan.
Awesome stuff, man. All right, guys. All right, thanks so much, guys. Scotty, as always, man. I love you, bro. Can't
Love you,
wait
man.
to get together. Let's get something on the books and get me over to Texas, do some golfing if we want.
Come over. Come on.
Hey,
Eddie
hey,
Skinner's
next
house
time
is
let's
open all the
take
time.
Next time, maybe we should take our clubs. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Y'all come on.
All
Hey,
right, dude.
Scotty, somebody's asking on there, how do we get the playbook?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Good
share
idea.
it to
Thank you, Eddie.
Scott Hudspeth, and he
All
will
right.
do with it what he will.
All right, I'll put it up with the recording on YouTube as well as make sure it's available if you guys need it. So I'll save the link. Thanks, Scotty.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
All right, my
Appreciate
friend.
it out
Take
there.
care. Have an amazing day. See ya. Woo! Let's go.
We all mild.